As I've said before, failure isn't losing one time, but it's giving up on the grand scheme of things. So men fail not because they're weak, but because they restart their life every week. Think about it. When you relapse, whatever it is that you're relapsing in, you love to go back to square zero. You love to say, oh, I failed. I'm back to day zero or back to day one or whatever. But the truth is, failure gives you information, given you didn't give up. Assuming you gave up, there's no reason to use the information. But if you're still in the race, you've learned. Okay, maybe got a little setback, but it's a setup for a comeback. So why use that failure as an excuse to go back to day zero when you can just scratch that day off and go to the next one? I mean, consistency isn't about motivation, but it's about your identity. So if you're a man who wants to achieve things, might as well be a man who's going to move on to the next day. And when your identity shifts, your actions follow automatically. Howdy, my name is Nolan T. Painter, and in today's video I want to teach you the only trick men need to become consistent. I mean, after all, consistency is the lack of, well, inconsistency. And maybe that inconsistency could be you giving up. Maybe that inconsistency is you failing. So consistency isn't about being perfect, but it's about constantly pursuing the goal, trying. I mean, failure hates trying. Failure hates this unrelenting to give up. I mean, you don't have to be this perfect man, but you certainly have to be a man who's perfect. And a perfect man is a man who doesn't give up. So, overall though, we gotta start from the bare bones. We gotta start with the real reason why men aren't consistent. I mean, I used all these fancy lingo, but do we even know why we aren't consistent? Well, the truth is young men love to control their behavior, but they think that they should control their behavior rather than controlling their identity. They think they should force themselves to do things rather than saying they are the man who follows through with things. I mean, think about it this way. If you've been going to the gym your whole life, you're a bodybuilder, and as a bodybuilder, you go to the gym. But that's a lot easier to pursue rather than being a kid who says, I'm a nobody, but I'm going to force myself to go to the gym. So you have to conceptualize this identity within yourself that you want to become someone you aren't currently. I mean, it's a simple psychological factor that's built into competitive men. You gotta tell yourself you're the winner if you desire to win. You'll never be a winner if you say losing is okay. Not to say that it's unacceptable to lose, but to say it's unacceptable to tell yourself you're going to lose. So the man who thinks, I am disciplined is going to be the man who wins. But the man who says, I want to be disciplined is a man likely to fail, right? You don't rise to your goals, but you fall to the standards you set to yourself. So if your standards are so unachievably high, you're likely to rise to them, rather than having your standards being so unachievably low, right? Or so realistically low that you fall towards them. If your standards meant sleeping in, then you're likely to do so. But if your standards said waking up at 3:30 in the morning every day and running 50 miles, that's crazy. That's almost unachievable. But that pushes you to get up earlier and run, right? I always love to say, reach for the stars, and if you can't grab any, you'll get a handful of the clouds instead. If you want to be the world's richest man, you'll probably make millions. And that's certainly better than working at McDonald's for minimum wage. But that all comes from your identity. You're the best helper you have. Your parents aren't going to support you, your friends aren't going to support you, and God forbid a woman does, because most of them don't want to support you either. So you got to support yourself, man. You got to be the bro that's in yourself, who loves you more than anything else. And granted, you'll find God too, because you got no better supporter than him. He's been with you this whole way, and certainly he won't leave you just because you gave up, or because you got a minor setback. Nevertheless, a man who thinks he should go to the gym generally will skip. But a man who identifies as the man who trains, right? You're the IFB pro. You're the man who goes to the gym. IBFB. I don't remember the specific term for it, but you go to the gym and you compete in competitions. Obviously, you're going to want to go. I mean, Michael Phelps was a professional swimmer, and he would swim every day. So is it not reasonable for you to follow through with the things that your identity says you are going to do? If you think you're a gamer who's just going to game all day, then are you not likely to do that? Or are you likely to do that? But additionally, this moves us to the next step. So we got to shrink the commitment. So don't overcommit, don't overplan, don't overthink, and then burn out. People think burnout comes from overworking, but it comes from working too hard that you forget why you're working. I mean, think of a millionaire. He makes all this money because his goal was getting money. And then he makes the money. And then what? He's too afraid to go back to square one to learn a new skill. That's why you have millionaires all of a sudden become experts in dating advice while they're sleeping around with 30 women a day, right? Not because they're experts, but because they're too scared to go back down to square one and learn how to actually treat a woman. Making money might not teach you how to treat a woman, but it'll make you a more suitable man to learn how to do it. So even though the education is faster, they're too scared to go through all that growth again. And as a result, they burn out. Not because the work is too hard, but because it's too hard to cause them to want to think of what they want to do. They can't change their identity. If your identity is stuck as a man who's failing, then it doesn't matter how hard you work, you'll burn out regardless. And this comes with overthinking, overplanning, overcommitting. If you spend all day planning to do something but fail to do it, you're going to burn out because you never actually fulfilled that thing you were desiring. For example, if you want to read a book, you don't read the book, you read a page at a time, read a letter at a time. Just one word a day, who cares? Certainly better than nothing at all. If you want to clean, then just remove an item. If you want to work out, then do push-ups for 2 minutes. If you want to improve your relationship, look at try to send one intentional message, or look at one little thing that can help you. Whether it's a pretty river down the stream that you might want to take her on a date on, or a cool boat you want to ride, or a bridge you want to walk across. I don't know why all those have to do with water, but you get my point, right? Just try a little bit. You don't got to overwork yourself to become a millionaire. I mean, millionaires are all about 1% changes, because it doesn't matter if you have the money or not. If you're not founding it or funding it well, then you're going to lose it all. I mean, it says in Atomic Habits by James Clear, 1% improvements every day will lead you to 37 times superiority over where you started. But 1% dehancements over the year will lead to almost becoming net zero. Or not necessarily net zero, just zero entirely. So if you want to live a good life, if you want to be successful, if you want to be committed to something, you need to make gradual improvements that are almost negligible, but because of that negligibility, they become so easy to implement. It's not hard to wake up 1 minute earlier, but if you wake up 1 minute earlier every day for a year, you're going to wake up 365 minutes earlier. That's a couple hours earlier than what you normally wake up at, and you did it 1 minute every day. That's not so hard to be committed to, isn't it? As long as you just work a little bit at it. Certainly, it's a big goal, but you're guaranteed not to burn out from that. In addition, that's where you find the small wins, right? Men love these big, these glorious wins, but each big win is hidden behind millions of smaller wins, and that is what's necessary to become a successful man, especially based on this identity that I told you to desire earlier. I mean, every time you complete a tiny win, your brain says, I'm the type of man who follows through. Think of this, right now, in this moment, you're watching a video and I'm making the video. Me making this video is a little win, because I told myself, I'm going to make this video. Nolan, I'm going to make this video, right? And by making this video, I'm telling myself, I do the things I say I will do. That builds trust. So maybe I'm going to do something I've never done before. Nolan, you're going to go with your camera and go take pictures of people in the street. I mean, I've not really done that before, but I know I'll do it, right? Regardless if I want to or not, because I'm making this video regardless if I want to or not. I know I'm going to be able to ask out that girl or go to the gym today because I followed through with what I believe. But that takes small wins. If you force yourself to go for only large wins, but you can never achieve them, you're going to grow a mindset that tells you can't do anything you want. And if you can't do anything you want, how are you supposed to get up a minute earlier? How are you supposed to do that 2-minute exercise? How are you supposed to stretch before going to bed? How are you supposed to read a page out of the book if you can't even tell yourself to do the little things you want, right? And in this is things other people will notice. These are things that women notice and they appreciate. After all, they're detail-oriented, and they love consistency, and consistency is the masculine safety. They want to predict a man because as men imagine a future with their partners, women foresee a future with people. But if they can't foresee a future with you because you're unpredictable, then you're not safe. So this masculine energy comes from our commitment through our consistency, and our identity is built through the repetition of truth, not just sheer motivation. So we need to be repetitive, and that means if you fail, if you relapse, don't go back to square one, but keep on pushing where you're at. Don't give up. And here's where you find the hidden enemy, which is emotional overthinking. So men fall off when their emotions dictate their decisions. I like to say that you're a pole based in the ground of the earth and you're sticking out of the center of the Atlantic Ocean. You're struck by lightning, there's loud roaring thunder, and of course there's giant waves and big winds to push you around. But you never move because you're grounded. And that's the thing, you're grounded in truth, not logic, because logic can be skewed. I mean, think of it. Someone can disagree with you, but that's given their logic, even though yours disagrees with them, and you would consider yourself to be logical. I mean, after all, you want to get better, so are you not? But that's why we need to look at truth. And truth is found in the reality, not your emotions, because your emotions love to skew your logic. I mean, if you're mad at someone, logically, you'd lash out. But truthfully, you shouldn't. So men fall down, they fail when their emotions take a hold of them. You feel bad, so you push yourself and you punch yourself back to day zero, no matter what your relapse is. You feel bad, so you don't want to go to the gym. You're crummy this, crummy that. You lash out because of how you're feeling. But if you're feeling tired, you're likely to skip. If you're feeling overwhelmed, you're likely to procrastinate. If you're feeling sad, you're going to avoid. And if you're feeling stressed, you want to escape. But the solution is you have to anchor your identity in truth, not emotion. Because truth is going to say you're tired, so you know what? Be gentle on yourself, but go regardless, even if you don't have any progress, because going increases that truth inside of you, and it makes you all the more conformed to continue working the next day. If you're overwhelmed, then just take a moment back, pause, and focus on it a little bit at a time. If you're looking at a big rubric, that can be overwhelming, but look at it one word at a time. If you're sad, well, that sucks. Put on some nice music and keep on working. Or maybe talk to someone. Feel better, right? Maybe get a nice drink. Not a beer, but I don't know, like an apple juice. You can't drink apple juice and not be happy, right? Have strawberry or something, man. Have an apple. That's awesome, right? Go for a little walk. Okay, maybe you're still sad, but you're feeling a little better and you did something productive. If you're feeling stressed, rather than escaping, get the work done, right? Or maybe take a nap. Whatever it is, you can do things that are actually productive to your emotions so you feel better as a man while also being productive to the work you want to complete. And that's what makes a true man, because he can recognize this in the truth, right? The truth is that you have to be a man who says, I am a disciplined man, rather than looking at emotions and saying, I don't feel like it. Because being a man isn't about feeling, it's about leading in truth and having your feelings blessed, right? A blessed man is someone who has a woman who can validate him, having a woman who reassures him, and having a woman he's comfortable with being vulnerable with. But that comfort, that pleasure, right? The value in being vulnerable as a man comes when your vulnerability means something. And if you're always led by your emotions all the time, then what practice, what value is your vulnerability given? Since it's all the time. So I'm trying not to get too philosophical here, but simply put, the point is you can't overthink. Nonetheless, you have to practice, and like your biceps, train it like a muscle. The idea of not emotionally overthinking. Given in this example, we are leading in truth, and what we perceive is the best form of action, rather than falling back to what we want to do. Given the example I opened this video with, a bad habit that came back to you, you relapsed. Emotionally, we want to say, oh man, it's all my fault. I'm going to go back to square zero. I'm going to go back to day zero. But just keep on going, right? If you go back to day zero, you're going to go back to the man who kept on doing it and was addicted in the first place, right? Let's say you're struggling with lust. If you go back to day zero, all of a sudden there's nothing at stake, right? Like, just pause and think for a moment. Let's say you're at day 100 of not lusting and you lust. You're back to day zero. All of a sudden, nothing is at stake. There's no stakes anymore. You can lose and it doesn't matter. So why do that, right? Why would you do that to yourself? You're going to go back to day zero and fail again and again and again and again because it's all of a sudden it's okay. That's failure. You gave up. So you got to keep on going, right? Maybe you just set another timer or another calendar and say, okay, that was 100 days. I failed, but here's day one, right? Don't take success away from yourself just because you got set back, just because your emotions told you to. You got to push through. You got to lead in the truth, righteous, godly truth. But here's a consistent formula that I've taught you throughout this video. And if you haven't caught on yet, this is basically it. First of all, look at your identity. Be the type of man who does blank. Whether it's making $1 million, whether it's having a beautiful family and being the head of the family, whether it's just finding a lady and asking her out, whether it's discerning and looking which lady's actually good for you or who's going to treat you right, whether it's building an online community or supporting people you love or just being a better man who's more gentle. You got to be the man who does blank. Then, look, how can you start? How can you do small, minute changes that change drastically over the lifetime of your life? I know that wasn't worded perfectly, but you get the point. What are the 1% changes, the 30 seconds to 2-minute changes that you can implement that'll drastically change your life? Doing push-ups for like 30 seconds before going to bed got me to go to the gym every day. I wouldn't have done that if I didn't start. Reading a little bit of my Bible every day, whether it was just one word or one phrase or one passage, got me to almost reading half the thing by now. So it's all about the little things. And of course, repeat daily. It has to be so easy that you can't fail. That doesn't mean perfection, but it means momentum. It means going nonetheless, whether you feel crappy or not. And of course, you got to be emotionally resonant with yourself and leading in truth. That means forgiving fast, especially yourself. We're told to forgive others, which is precious, but lest you can forgive yourself, how can you forgive another? So recommit, and recommit well and hard. Every time you fall is just another reason to get up faster. If you fall on your face, surely you're going to heal well and you'll have a hardened face and a body strong enough to pick yourself up. So be grateful for when you fall, because it's far and few in between. And there's people who have never fallen once, and they'll live a life completely uncomparable to yours because of how greatly you've fallen and how superiorly, that's not a word, how Oh, I'm like thinking of a good synonym. Oh, I was doing so good. Whatever, you get the point. You will rise and you will be beautiful and you will be amazing. But that only comes through falling, and that only comes through forgiveness and graciousness with yourself. God helps with that. Obviously, it's beautiful to accept Him into your life, but nonetheless, you want a plan and you desire a plan naturally as a competitive man. After all, that's who you are, and biologically, that's what speaks to you most. Of course, don't make things too complicated. What, you just watched like a 10 to 15-minute video and you think your life is solved? That's not the case. You just can't stop trying. You keep on working. One day you'll get it. I mean, success comes at you faster than you can blink. You work hard and hard and hard and it becomes normal, and then boom, it happens. You blink and you have a family. You blink and you have the money. You blink and you think, wow, it's good. So don't worry. Appreciate the crumminess right now. Appreciate the desire to work hard right now, because it's far and few in between where men have these moments in their lives. So stop trying to be perfect and start trying to be predictable. Start trying to be the man who builds his identity, and then his discipline naturally follows. My name is Nolan T. Painter. I apologize on the delivery in this video. Those are the 1% changes I'm really trying to work on. But hey, I didn't have to re-record it for the 50th time, so I guess I'm getting better. And I'm looking at my dry lips. I guess I have to work on moisturizing those a bit more. So I guess that's another 1% change I have to work on. But nonetheless, that's what life is about. 1% changes. You're looking at me, some kid who looks like he's got it all figured out, but honestly, I have no idea what I'm going through. I lost everything in mine, and now I'm sitting here trying to give some cool advice online to probably a whole of 5 people are going to watch. But if that's 5 people who are going to fix up their life and say, Nolan, help me out, then that's all the 5 people I need. Thank you very much for watching. I love you, and God loves you more. Oh, and of course, I will be seeing you tomorrow.